We are live, we are direct on the Leaders Who Scale podcast with Mando Sallavanti. He is the leader helping people build generational wealth without the money stress. Financial advisor for companies like Paycom, Oracle, Salesforce, and some of the biggest tech companies in the world. The top 25 in the Mass Mutual Financial Advisor Awards 2024, helping people get to financial clarity in under 90 days. Welcome, Mando Sallavanti.
Jay, thanks for having me, man. I hope to live up to that introduction. That was awesome.
No, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you're a busy man. Let's start off with this. In the top of your in your screen over there, it says invest in yourself. Like, let's start off with that. Why is that
Man,
important? What does that mean?
so I remember when I was first starting in business my first year, a lot of the most successful people that I met and rubbed shoulders with, they always spoke about investing in yourself, hiring a coach, like looking for education so you can basically accelerate what would take you normally a decade, 20 years to learn into 1 month, 2 month, 3 months. So funny enough, my first year in business, I'm about 6 months in. I started to make some money at this point, fortunately, which 6 months, it felt like an eternity. It was a short period of time in the grand scheme of things. But I remember I was pitched by a coach, a business coach at the time, and he says, "This is my program. It's $4,500. It's 3 months. I'm going to accelerate your career 6 years in 3 months." And I'm like, all right, man, like, I don't know. I don't know, like, my hands from my elbow at this point. So let's see what you got. Everybody says invest in yourself. I'll figure it out. Now, that coach, his name was Simon. And with Simon, he truly did help me advance my career multiple years. Like, I learned things with him on how to be a better financial advisor, how to run my business that I probably would have wasted a lot of money and time on otherwise. So I have a bias towards investing in myself for education, access to people, just better ways to do things because of that first encounter that went well. I've had a lot of bad ones after that. I've had a lot of good ones after that. But the ones that work out, they well exceed any of the bad that you get from the ones that don't work out. And even the ones that don't work out when you invest in yourself, you still get something out of them.
No, that makes complete sense. I like the collapsing maybe a decade into days and weeks and not trying to reinvent that wheel, you know. But if something's working, maybe copy and then add your twist to something that's working rather than trial and terror.
That's right. That's right. It's like a remix, right? Like you're not stealing the song, but it's a remix.
Love the way you put that in terms of that's why I'm a big hip hop R&B fan, and I know that in the
Me too.
90s there were a lot of bangers coming out, and then like little did I know that they were sort of kind of samples from the 70s and 80s. So that's a great way of looking at it. Tell me, what are some of the trends happening in your industry? How is AI affecting it? Like, what's the trends right now in terms of the financial advising space?
So there's a funny saying in finance that we say we're 10 years behind banking, who's 10 years behind the rest of the world when it comes to technology. Now, with all jokes aside, AI is impacting a lot of things, right? Like we see this in a lot of different industries. You have AI note takers, you have softwares that AI can now assist in doing things that before had to be completely done by a human. One example in our industry is there's AI that's involved in portfolio management with what people are investing in. There's AI involved in creating financial planning strategies for people. And it's not 100% AI in those realms yet, but they're AI assisted with a human that it's accelerating, the work that some advisors you might have used to only be able to do in a full day for one person, they could do for five people in one day now. So it's increasing capacity for us advisors and the work we could do. I think also something that many people need to look at is like AI is not perfect. Yes, it will increase efficiency, but you got to check its work. You got to make sure, especially in our industry, because there are things it gets wrong about like laws and legislation that might be out of date, or some new law that is in date and it doesn't know yet because it's not trained on it. So there's a lot that it comes in with. And then, of course, there's everything like the administrative tasks it can help with, generating follow-up emails and sifting through your notes and your Microsoft OneDrive and stuff like that. There's a lot of different use cases that we've used it for.
Okay, no, that makes complete sense. And tell me what a typical day looks like for you. I'm guessing your clients are mostly in the United States. Any
Yeah.
elsewhere, or is it mainly the United States? I'm guessing.
So because of my licenses, the way that you get them as an advisor, you can only work with clients in your country typically. Now, I do know some advisors that are dually licensed between multiple countries. When this is the case, usually they lived in that other country for some sort of time. So like people that are US and Canada, or even US and UK, or like some people are US and Dubai. That's an interesting one that I've seen people go back and forth from. Now, anyways, primarily United States. We can work with people in all 50 states. We currently do work with people in over 30 states.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm in my physical office location. We do have some local clients. About 20% of our client base is local, but the other 80% is pretty much a virtual business that we run through Zoom and we run online, and some travel, of course, throughout the country. But that's been one of the big benefits since COVID of everyone really adopting Zoom, because people are more comfortable to operate in that business environment now.
No, that makes sense. And it's ultimate leverage, right? You're able to leverage the technology, and really grow in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, someone like yourself, I've seen you speak and you do deliver things very simply, like you break things down. And I know that you're always on the continual growth in your leadership journey. What two books have helped you the most in your leadership journey, and why did those two books help you?
Number one, I would kick it off with Think and Grow Rich. So I'll take you back. And it's a very popular book. It's even cliche to a point, but I'll take you back to when I think I was still 18 years old. I was 18 years old. So at this time, it's my second semester of my freshman year in college. And my first semester, I had failed two of my classes, and I transferred schools to another school that was closer to where I grew up, because I figured, hey, I got to get my grades together. And if I don't, my parents are going to beat me. Not literally, but you get what I'm saying. So, anyways, I transferred schools, and I'm going through a rough time. Like I'm starting, and I was always a great student growing up. So when I got to college and this happened, this was kind of uncharacteristic. And I was lost. I was anxious about like what my direction in life was going to be. And one of the things that got me out of that was reading books. And in reading books, I started to realize like I can put my own destiny in my own hands by getting the knowledge I need for the path I need to go on. So with Think and Grow Rich, that was one of the books I picked up then. I picked it up again when I got into my career, which was in late 2020. I read that book. I took it to heart. I figured at that point, I got my grades together and graduated college, but I really didn't know my direction, didn't know my path. And I'm like, you know what, man, this book tells me that if I can write out the life I want and what that's going to be and feel like and what it is when I wake up every day and go through it and the things I do to get that life. And if I just focus on that when I wake up in the morning and when I go to bed at night, if I do that every day, I'm going to be closer to that life. And I did it. And long story short, I've achieved things over the last 6 years, 5 years since then that I never thought would be possible. I mean, my first 3 months in business, I made $300. And now I have a business that this year we crossed $500,000 in revenue. I couldn't have even fathomed that then. And this was the spark to that. Of course, there was action afterwards, but there's a saying, our mind moves towards what it's most familiar with. So I got myself familiar with the life that I wanted to live. And when I focused on it every day, aligned the actions that I took with that, it's funny how every day things compound and you get closer to it.
That makes sense. Funny enough, I was listening to the audio of that book today with my son, 5 years old,
Huh.
in the car. And, maybe we might do a little exchange in terms of the most important chapters here.
Yeah.
For me, the most important chapter, well, two most important chapters, is the chapter on desire. And it says, hey, look, um, if you have a burning desire, it's evident in how you pursue the goal. If you're tentative or a bit tame in your pursuit, you've not got a burning desire.
Yep.
And so it's like, focus in on that burning desire. Who are you here to serve? Who are you here to put food on the table for? Like, what's the mission? And I think the second chapter is persistence. Because once we have that aligned goal, it might not work out immediately. It might take second, third, fourth business, fifth business, different niche, whatever that might be, different coach, but that persistence. How about for you in terms of the book? What about that book? Let's unpack it. What? Yeah.
Chapter two, man. It's chapter two.
Yeah.
So I will revisit. I have probably read chapter two 20 times.
Oh, wow.
And it's where he goes through this. I think he calls it the 6 steps to riches is what
Okay.
he labels it in the book.
Yeah.
But it's like talking about the principle of auto suggestion, I believe. is
Oh,
chapter
okay. Yeah.
two.
Also, yes, yes, yeah.
And it walks you through like what when you have your life. I think very simply, like let's actually think about this. We are on a Riverside FM recording right now. So the creator of Riverside, let's just use that company and software as an example. That was a thought in his mind before it was created. That might sound super simple and like elementary basic level, but if you can't think of something first, how is it going to materialize in your life? It never is. And the principle of auto suggestion is where that all starts of like, well, what are you thinking of? Okay, what are you going to give in exchange for that? Because there's no such thing as something for nothing in life. That's another thing I think people don't realize enough. And then are you going to keep it at the front of your mind every single day when you wake up and every single night when you go to bed? Because if you do that, is it unreasonable to expect that you will realize that thing in your life if you did that? I think it is unreasonable to expect that it won't happen.
Oh, no, that's, I like how you broke that down in terms of it starts in terms of a thought, that vibration. And it's like, if we don't cultivate that thinking, then we almost, sort of stab ourselves in the foot in that regard, and we don't get going. So we have to protect the thinking, use the mastermind principle to get
Yep.
around the people who have the higher level of thinking to help to bring your level of thinking up. You are the average of the 5 people that you are around. So the mastermind principle, right, Mando?
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. 100%. 100%.
I see you in 12 months. We bump into each other in Madison Square Gardens, boxing match. I don't know who's fighting there, but you say, Jay, look, I remember last year when we spoke about that goal I had. It's come true. What was the goal?
We're really scaling right now in my business. So I have a team of 4, including myself right now. So I have 3 people on the team. And one of them is an intern. She's going to graduate college in May, and hopefully she does amazing and we bring her on full time. We are going to be bringing on another intern in late winter, so probably February timeframe. And another one is going to be coming on in the summer. Well, late spring, it would technically be in May. So why am I telling you that? I believe very much so. And like, let's bring the interns in, let's let them learn, and then come out full time when they graduate school and have that track. So all 3 of them that I'm going to be bringing in, and I've already had conversations with and identified, I want them to be moving to full time so that our team can elevate. So the way I look at our growth, I'm going to make more money as the CEO and the founder of this business as we grow and scale it, of course. But I want my team to make more money too. So for my current members that are full time, John and Nicole are their names, I said, hey guys, look, when new people come in, that's an opportunity for you to step up and take more responsibility on by overseeing them, by training them, by passing things off to them. So just as much as like this business is going to grow and I'm going to win, you're going to win with it. So a year from now, what I see, everyone on the team is making more money. I'm paying them more because we can, because we've raised revenue. Number 1. Number 2, Ideally, at that time, we were 4 full-time employees with 2 other interns. That's where I see us being at that time, about a year from now. And, what that looks like is a lot of the same with the branding on LinkedIn, the prospecting on LinkedIn, doing podcasts like these to just get exposure to myself and continue to do right by our clients. Because if we do right by our clients, they're going to tell more people about us, and that's going to bring referrals, and that's only going to be icing on the cake.
Yeah, no, thank you for laying that out. Um, you speak about scaling and growing and these things. How have you been able to land companies like Salesforce and Oracle? Like, yeah, how have you done that? Is it LinkedIn outreach or like, what's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's LinkedIn, man. I mean, we work with a lot of employees at these companies, typically people who are sales executives, selling business to business enterprise deals. And it actually started with about 3 years ago, a gentleman who was running an office at Salesforce. This was my first foot in the door with some of these big companies. With Salesforce, he was running an office and he's like, hey, we've got a lot of people on our team. We've been having some layoffs. People are concerned about their finances. I'd love if you could come in and just speak to the team about what they could do with their money to be better financially literate. And I'm like, he's like, maybe you get a client. I'm thinking, hey, if I can get a client that's worth my time, let's do it. So I did get a client. And she's still with me. She's a great client. She has referred 2 clients to me, and one of them has referred clients to me, and another one's referred other people to me. So like it's come a lot through my foot in the door and then referrals beyond that. Additionally speaking, just had some professionals that I partner with in like an accountant who would refer me to clients and happen to be at some of these companies, and they come in the door, and now I already have people at these companies. So what can I do? Well, I understand them now. So if I understand them, I can take that understanding and articulate it in my marketing, and that has attracted more people over the past 3 to 4 years that I've really had my foot in the door with these 3 companies specifically.
Okay. No, that makes sense. And it's understanding that, as you said, if you do a good job with people, then that's going to be the best type of promotion that you can get because people refer, they stay longer, and things like that. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
that makes yeah. What metric are you most wanting to optimize for over the next 12 months?
What metric? That's a very good question. It's there's a lot of things that come to mind off the like top of my head, which is revenue is one thing, right? Because if
Mhm.
revenue goes up, that means we're probably helping more people. It means we're probably retaining our clients. It means we're probably growing. But the thing I actually think is the best leading indicator is our renewal rate of clients. So what I mean
Oh,
by
okay.
that is
Yeah.
we sell an ongoing service. We don't do one-time plans. We view it as planning. Like clients are going to get the most value with us when we're helping them year over year over year because of the compounding nature of advice and everything we do. So the clients who renew with us year over year, they get the best results. My clients who have been with me since my first year in business, they have had unreal success. In the same breath, I've had people that come in and they want the overnight success in 6 months, and like you're not getting that no matter who you go to. So the percentage of our clients that are renewing, I want that number always over 90%. We're at about 86% right now. So we want to increase
Well
that a
done.
little bit, but getting that over 90%, that would be a massive win. And that's the leading metric I see.
Okay. No, that makes complete sense. What would you say could be the main barrier to you scaling? I know you mentioned the team, and yeah, so what's the main barrier to you scaling over the next year?
It's getting everything that's in my mind out of it and onto paper, and training my team with the skill set to do so. Now, I spend some very intentional time with this. Like we spend right now, six, I'm spending 8 hours a week with the team purely on training, like purely on supporting them. What do you need? Where can I support you? What can I do? Because that's as valuable thing. That's as valuable a thing as I can do. And ultimately, it's like the more people we have, think about like a rowboat. The more people we have rowing oars on the boat, the better that the boat's going to move forward and the faster it's going to go in the right direction. So if I can get them up to speed, that's a better experience for our clients. That's better productivity for us as a team. It's more off of my plate. And when it's more off of my plate, that means I can use that added space to focus my time on what my superpowers are. And they could use their time to focus on what their superpowers are.
No, that I like that. I mean, I'm currently reading the book Emotional Intelligence. You probably read the book. Why EQ is more important than IQ, and it really talks about having that empathy of knowing what other people strive for, what their values are, really empathizing, and then having that self awareness where you know where your gifts are, and really building relationships. And I think in this age where everyone's talking AI or automations, it becomes a commodity. I think the people that thrive are the people like yourself who have that incredible EQ.
Yeah, yeah. So two things on that. Number one, we use a couple things to actually help with this too. So there's something called the Colby Index. It's spelled Kolbe, and it's basically an assessment that identifies like what your behavioral patterns are at work and like your personality type, and it's not just like a personality test. It's more than that. That we could kind of see like what I'm good at, what Nicole is good at, what John's good at, what Sierra, who's joining our team, is good at. So we can identify the types of tasks that best fit that person. So we're always looking at that. Second, there's this matrix that we look at. We call it delegate and elevate. Delegate and elevate. We got this from EOS, which I don't know if you've ever heard of EOS before, but there's a book called Traction by Gino Wickman, I think his name is. And he has like a company called EOS that I don't know if he started it or runs it or what it is, but they have an exercise called Delegate and Elevate. So in this exercise, you have 4 boxes. In the top left, you have things that you love and you're great at. In the bottom right, you have things you do not like and you're not good at. And then you have things that you like and you're good at, and you have things that you're good at but you don't like. So every task in our day-to-day lines up in one of these boxes. Well, whatever's in mine don't like and not good, and my team members, whatever's in there don't like and not good, that's what should become the job description for the next team member. And if you do the promoting of the job description properly, the person who comes in and all of those don't like and not good things, they will love them and be great at them. So when you talk about scaling, like that's the biggest thing I think about, because let me get someone who their zone of genius is all the things that our current team falls short in.
It's being the conductor.
Yeah.
Yeah, being the conductor rather than trying to, you know, half-ass all of the different instruments and knowing, okay, I can get the best of this here, best of this here. These people are out there, they're on Upwork, they're in my network, they are interns, I've got people that can complement John and Nicole and help
Yep.
us grow, even further. So that's a good point that you make there. What are
Yeah.
the 3 things that you might help a high net worth individual do in order to grow their money? Like what 3 pillars would you say? Oh, this.
So I love that you said 3, because this is how I break it down to clients. There's 3 big levers we can pull when it comes to your finances. Now, before I talk about that, there's many small levers beneath that, and there's maybe 50 different things that we end up getting into. But there's 3 big things when you really boil it down. Number 1, and by the way, these are all the things we can control. That's the key, because there's a lot of forces in finance you cannot control. Let's focus on what we could, because that's what's going to help you build the most wealth. So number 1, it's your cash flow, what I call. So cash flow is just, I make an income, I have expenses, there's a difference between those. That's what we call cash flow. It's the money that's left over on a month-to-month basis. How can we create a structure to retain as much of that as possible? That's the number 1 big thing. Number 2, taxes. So with taxes, we all got to pay them, but there is an internal, I mean, in the US at least, we have an internal revenue code, it's called, and that code is designed that any man or woman can view that code, interpret that code, and pay the minimum amount of taxes possible based on what they do with their dollars today. We help clients plan for that, not just today, but 20 years, 30 years in the future, because guess what? When I invest money, taxes come in later depending on how I'm investing it and where it's going. So we help clients plan for this, usually in conjunction with their accountant because there's some overlap. Third thing, everyone talks about how do I make the most money possible? How do I have the highest rate of return? Nobody talks about how do I turn those assets into income? So we want to articulate to our clients this and say, look, we got to start with the end in mind. If we don't start here today thinking about how we're going to distribute those dollars later, then you will have less income later than we should realistically plan for. And that means you're going to have to plan with more money, which will hurt your lifestyle today. So if we could start with the end in mind, we can be more efficient now. And that leads to either reaching your goals quicker or having more money when you reach them.
No, cash flow. Why do you start with cash flow? Yeah.
Because it's the number one thing we can control. You could control how much money you make. You could control how much money you spend to a point. Now, there's two sides to it, right? The spending, we can only go down so far. And I'm not the guy that wants clients to change their lifestyle. I want you to live the life you want to live, take the vacations you want to take, do all the things. That's number one. But at a point, like we know what a reasonable level of discretionary spending is when you talk about living your life and having fun. Everyone kind of knows like what's going overboard. You know what I mean? On the income side, and back to the invest in yourself, right? Like I encourage clients all the time. If you can do things to invest in yourself and increase your income, that's the number one place we should be putting money. Because if you have more, the job now becomes, let's create a structure around how we manage this. And in doing that structure, that's going to help us retain as much of it as possible. And if we could retain as much of it as possible, that allows us to invest more, save more, and put it places that make money. Because last point on this, if I had $100,000 and that $100,000 earned 1%, that's $1,000. If I had $1,000 and it earned 100%, that's $2,000. I got $101,000 and I got $2,000 in the second situation. Well, at the end of the day, it's like more money needs less return to get a similar result or the same result. So like, let's pull the levers we can pull.
No, thank you so much for the insights today. Let them know how they can get in contact with you and who are you looking for particularly? Is there a type of client that you're looking for?
Yeah, so you can follow me on LinkedIn, Mando Sallavanti the third, and that's probably the best place to check me out. I post every day, and it's typically things that are helping entrepreneurs and sales executives with how they manage their finances, real stories from clients of mine, stories from my personal life. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a fluctuating income. I deal with my own financial challenges, right? So I share stuff about that, and I think you'll find value in it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man.
Amazing.